Hey guys, it's Ricky at String Theory Fabric Art, and it has been a hot minute since we have seen each other, hasn't it? All right, so today it's Applique Day, and we are doing the Scooby Gang as appliques. These are pretty simple, but some people are like, "Oh my God, applique! I'm so terrified! Please don't make it happen." I'm gonna walk you through step by step how to do all 5 of the Scooby Gang plus the mystery machine. So you got this. You totally have this. What you will need is the pattern. I always print my stitch sheet, and I always make notes to myself, especially on an applique, so that I know what is a die line and what is a tack down. Okay. Okay. We also want to pay attention to colors here. On my appliques, I can't speak for everybody, but on my appliques, the first color, the die line for placement of your applique fabric is going to be approximately the color of fabric you want. So with Thelma, it starts off with her hair and it's kind of a mahogany brown. This is not anywhere close to the size of a piece of fabric that you need. I started off my sewing life long ago, far away, as a quilter, and I have got all kinds of solids. So I just go through my bin and I find a piece, a good size piece, and then I put some SF 101 or some fusible interfacing on the back to give it a little bit of heft, so it's not all floppy-doppy. And of course you press it so it's nice and smooth and no wrinkles. I will have exact measurements for these in the how-to PDF, in the PDF when you download, okay? So you need some mahogany. You're gonna need some pastel peach fleshy color. And again, not this much, not even close to this much. If I had to guess, just looking at it, probably 5 inches by 5 inches for the peach. You're gonna need 2 pieces of kind of a white blue for her glasses, and you're gonna need an orangey color for her sweater. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk this piece by piece, step by step. You are gonna hoop your base fabric with some medium weight cutaway. I got medium weight cutaway, I've got my base fabric. I'm all hooped up and ready to go. We're gonna throw it in, we'll run color stop 1. That will give us our die line for our first piece of fabric. And our first piece of fabric is brown. Then after we do all our trimming, it's peach, then it's orange, then it's that light blue. So we are not going to watch me trim all the way through, and we will be back after color stop 1. All right, so editing will need to be done. So we've run color stop 1. There we go. And now we are just going to float our first piece of fabric. Our first piece of fabric is Daphne's hair. And because I'm stingy with my fabric, I'm gonna line it up in such a way that I get the most out of my fabric. There we go. We're gonna float it. We don't have to tack it, we don't have to spray it, we don't have to tape it. We're gonna put it back in the machine and we're gonna run color stop 2, and I'll be back in a second to show you how we're gonna trim her out. Hello, my lovelies. So we've run Daphne's color stop 2, and that has zigzagged around her hair. And now we have to applique trim. Don't panic. Applique trim her hair, and it is all about the right tool for the right job. I love my duck bill applique scissors, so we pick any place, and we want to cut as close to those stitch lines as possible. Here's a couple of things to don't panic about. If you are not right on top of those stitches, if you got a little bit of fabric sticking out, don't panic. This zigzag is a 1.5 millimeter zigzag, and the satin that will finish this whole project at the very end is a 3 millimeter satin. So if you can do some simple math, that means we've got 1.5 millimeters of slop. Here's the other thing that people panic about. Oh my God, I was getting really super close. And you can see I did it. I was getting really super close and I snipped the stitches. Well, we don't want to snip all of the stitches, guaranteed. However, it is a zigzag. So if you snip one or two of your snitches, snitches get stitches. If you snip one or two of your stitches as you go around this, there is enough of a zigzag to hold everything flat and in place until we get to the satin. Wow, I did not realize snip your stitches was such a tongue twister. Look at me, my enunciation is failing. So, and just in case you're curious, this video is not going to be 87 minutes long, so you can just sit here and watch me applique trim over and over and over again. I will probably do quick cuts. Just turn the camera on to show you the placement, the tack down, the start. But I figured, woo! I will show you the placement and zigzag for every applique piece so you know what order to do things in. And occasionally I'll stop and do the long, slow explanation of where you need to be careful and what's up with what. However, for the most part, you're just going to get, hey, video on. It's time for this piece. Okay, now video off. Sorry, this is not going to be hugely entertaining. I get the feeling from a bunch of you guys that applique terrifies you, and it shouldn't. Applique, once you, and again, practice, practice, practice. That's how you get to Carnegie Hall. Once you get really good at this part of it, applique actually goes faster than fill stitch sometimes. Because can you imagine how long it would take to do this? Oi! Oi! Okay. And boom. There we go. I'm going to set that aside because that fabric can be used later. I'm going to put her back in the machine. I'm going to run color stop 3, which will give me the dye line for the pastel peach, which will be her face. Back with that dye line in just a minute. Okay, guys, we're back on Daphne, and it's time to float some fabric for her face. And it's just going to go right there. We're going to put it back in the machine and run color stop 4 to tack it down. We'll be back to trim out in just a minute. And here we are. There is Daphne's face. So we need to applique trim. And I am not going to sit here and have you watch. Actually, I am. I am, because this is an overlap applique. So this will probably be the last one that you watch all of the cutting. What I want to warn you about is when you get up here to where her hair and her face are overlapping, you want to be careful that the ends of your scissors do not catch her hair, okay? So as you're going around, you want to make sure that this point is a little angled up so that you are not snipping that fabric that's underneath by accident, okay? So go slow. Pay attention to what you're doing. Put a little bit of an upward angle. I also like to pull a little bit on the spare fabric to give myself some working room. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Gonna pull away a little bit. If you can get your scissors, nice, sharp, good scissors, to do that nice ripping sound rather than snip, 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 that's even better, like that. But that becomes a problem when it's teeny little spaces because you run out of room to run before you get to the end of the turn. There you go. Okay, let's see if we can't get a run going. Yeah, we can. There we go. So her face is all done. We're going to throw her back in. We'll run color stop 5, which is the dye line for her sweater, and back in a second. Jinkies, guys. It's time for Thelma's sweater. There's her dye line. Woohoo! And we are just going to float this over, making sure we're covering up her whole dye line. And we'll throw it back in the machine and run color stop 6. Back in a second. Heidi ho, neighbor ho. Oops, wrong show. All right, so there we do. There we do. There we go. We've got Thelma's sweater tacked down with a zigzag. I am not going to have you watch me do this whole thing. Once you've got her trimmed out, you'll put her back in the machine and run color stop 7, which will give you a dye line for one lens, just one lens of her glasses. And then I will, after that dye line is down, I will show you, we'll come back, we'll float our fabric, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, you don't need to see me trim. Back in a minute. So you see we've already trimmed out her sweater, and now we have a dye line for her glasses. We're just gonna float a little piece of fabric, and I'll show you the tack down in just a minute. Holy buckets, that was a quick one, wasn't it? So now we're just gonna trim this out, and then we will run color stop 2, 4, 6, 8, color stop 9 for the other lens in her glasses. And again, we want to get close, but we don't want to snip the fabric that's underneath, and we don't want to clip our stitches. Practice makes perfect. You can do it. You can do it. There we go. Let's throw it back in and get our next dye line, okay? Whee! And there we are. Ready to, there it is. Float our other glasses piece. Okay, and then run color stop 2, 4, 6, 8, color stop 10 to tack it down. Back in a second. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime girl. All right, this is the last applique piece on Thelma. Then we're going to put her back in. She's going to run the next color stop, which will be her freckles. Then she will run her satins. All of her outlines, all these zigzags are getting covered up. And we'll probably throw in a couple of more style lines in there to give her some definition. Then it will sew the word jinkies on her sweater, and then we will be all done. So I am going to put this in the machine, and I'm going to hit go, 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 and you will not see me until she is all done. All you need to do is pop her out of the hoop, trim out her stabilizer, and then use her for whatever you're going to use her for. Pretty simple, huh, guys?